I'm on a fascinating journey through some of the most misunderstood regions of Europe. My journey will take me through snow-covered mountains and across 3 borders, from medieval cities to charming villages and one of Europe's last forgotten nations. Join me on this exciting adventure as we explore the fascinating wonders of Catalonia and the Eastern Pyrenees! The autonomous region of Catalonia lies in the northeast corner of the Iberian Peninsula, occupying a large swath of Spain and a tiny portion of France. On its eastern border lies the Mediterranean Sea. On its northern border, the majestic Pyrenees Mountains. I'll begin my journey in the mountains of Montserrat. I'll then explore the ancient Roman city of Tarragona before traveling north to the colorful medieval city of Girona. From there, I'll explore the picturesque villages of the Costa Brava. The final leg of my journey will take me into the Pyrenees Mountains. There, I'll explore the medieval streets of Baga before visiting the charming French town of Acqui-Therme. I'll then explore the tiny landlocked principality of Andorra before ending my journey back on the Spanish side, near the foot of a ruined castle. Catalonia. As a student of human geography, its geopolitical situation has always fascinated me, which is why I couldn't pass up the opportunity to come here. The ancestral Catalan homeland consists of Catalonia, Andorra, and parts of southeastern France. Since its founding in 988 AD, its people have considered themselves unique and distinct from ethnic Spaniards. But in 1714, after losing the War of Spanish Succession, the region officially became a part of Spain. But throughout their history, the Catalan people have always felt neglected, ignored, and even oppressed by the Spanish government. Most notoriously in the mid-1900s during the brutal reign of dictator Francisco Franco, and more recently during the failed referendum of 2017. Although Spanish is spoken here, the official language is Catalan. In fact, in the local language, Catalonia means land of castles. And beyond the touristy streets of Barcelona lies a land of sacred mountains, a stunning coastline, and some of the most beautiful cities in Spain. I'll begin my journey at the region's famous MONTSERRAT Monastery. The history of Montserrat dates back to 880 when a group of shepherd children saw a bright light descending from the sky and heard the singing of angels. Over the next month, their parents and a local vicar also witnessed the phenomenon. Shortly after the visions, an image of the Virgin Mary miraculously appeared in a nearby cave. The cave immediately became a place of pilgrimage, and soon after, Benedictine monks began constructing a large monastery. Today, the monastery is still home to Benedictine monks. And there she is, the famous Black Madonna of Montserrat, the patron saint of Catalonia. And that sphere she's holding in her hand actually represents the universe. Okay, so I cheated. I didn't want to stand in line for an hour, so I filmed this replica I saw in another Catalan church. Close enough. Unfortunately, the original monastery was destroyed by French troops in 1811, so most of what we see today was reconstructed in the 18 and 1900s. Sadly, much of its authentic charm has been lost due to a rapid rise in commercial tourism. This building right here is actually where the monks lived, about 100 of them. That chapel we see down there was actually built on the side of the cave where the Black Madonna was found. Now, the name Montserrat actually translates to serrated mountain, and the name comes from those needle-shaped rocks you see up there. I actually didn't plan on doing any hiking today, but I found this cool trail, and the monastery is pretty small, so we might as well. The trail is about 1 kilometer, and we get to see these cool rock formations. Let's see how far we can get.
Top of the mountain? 2 hours.
Oh.
15 minutes. Upstairs is a very good
view.
Look. Yes.
Do you want to go?
Maybe. Yeah, 15 minutes. Yeah, we have time. Okay. Yeah, gracias.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Brian. You're gonna tear your jacket. Yeah, you will.
A tight squeeze.
I know.
I know. The monasteries were always built in these sort of inaccessible, inhospitable settings so the monks could have peace and quiet to focus on their prayers. This is the valley below the monastery. Oh, there's some kind of river down there. I'm now leaving the scenic mountains of Montserrat and making my way to the ancient Roman city of Tarragona.
Després d'haver pencat, hi havia un cotxe a les fosques, hi havia un cotxe aparcat. Si no fos perquè cada dia me'l trobo sempre allà, i que és una parella fotent-se el bacallà. Però no ho és, però ningú no em vol fer cas quan els dic que la gent que hi ha allà seients són llocs que s'estan xutant. Tarragona m'esborrona, Constantí em fa patir.
Right behind me are the defense walls of the ancient Roman city of Tarraco. It was founded in 218 BC and is the oldest Roman settlement on the Iberian Peninsula, and it was from here that the Romans began their 200-year conquest of the peninsula. After the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 AD, the city was occupied by the Visigoths, the Muslims, and eventually the Spanish, renamed the city Tarragona. Then during the Peninsular Wars of the early 1800s, the city was besieged by French forces, wiping out nearly the entire population of the city, leaving just 30 residents.
This palace is called the Straw Palace. Why the straw? Because all the names given in medieval times were related to a commercial activity that happened around that area. So we call the Straw Palace. We can imagine that there was an important market of horses, cows, or something on the line.
I'm going to tell you something cool about the architecture here. Roman, Gothic, Renaissance. What's really cool about this city is that they actually built these modern apartment buildings into the original Roman walls.
Is the Roman city. So you can see that we are like 10 meters. The first temple of Spain because it's fun. Original, and it added some extra. At some point, the Bishop of Catalan didn't like an idea, so he ordered two special things.
This impressive Gothic building you see behind me is the Tarragona Cathedral. It was constructed between the 12th and 14th century, and previously a Roman temple, a Visigoth church, and Moorish mosque stood at this site.
Head of Noah's Ark. So Tarragon was one of his grandkids, Noah's grandkids, and at some point his grandkids began populating the whole world. So according to an ancient legend, one of Noah's grandkids founded the city. Could be not. I wasn't here.
Here we have a Roman tower. We have a Roman sarcophagus right here. One some ancient Roman tunnels underneath the modern day city. These tunnels we're exploring right now were once part of the Roman circus, believed to have been built sometime in the 1st century AD during the reign of Emperor Domitian. Now, despite the name, this actually wasn't a circus like what you'd think of today, but it was actually a chariot racetrack and was capable of holding up to 30,000 spectators. The circus was used up until the 5th century. That structure you see down there is the Fort of St. George. It was built in 1709 by the English during the War of Spanish Succession. Oh wow, right below us we have our first view of the Mediterranean Sea. Behind me you can see the old Roman theater of the city. It was built in the 2nd century AD and was capable of holding up to 14,000 spectators. Now the amphitheater was abandoned around the 4th century AD, and right inside are actually the remains of a 6th century Visigoth church, and it also contains the remains of a 12th century Romanesque church. And the reason they built churches here was because there were followers of Christianity that died inside the amphitheater, including a bishop.
Every time you picture gladiators fighting with lions and Christians, take it out from your minds. The majority of them were slaves trying to gain freedom, so they had to train a lot. They began training when they were kids. So this idea that they will kill or they will fight against a lion, no, that's Hollywood. Lions were difficult to catch, and they were expensive. And she was asking me why the amphitheater was so close to the beach. So they could anchor their boats on the sea and then bring the beasts and the gladiators into the city. Let's get a closer look. Que se hizo hace 2000 años, sus prophets fascination.
This impressive structure you see behind me is the Le Ferraris Aqueduct, and it's believed to have been built around the 1st century AD during the reign of Augustus Caesar.
We're going to the end?
Okay, we're walking on top of the aqueduct. This is the original channel where the water flowed. You know, this aqueduct may look straight, but it was actually built at a slight angle, which makes sense because water can flow straight through an artificial channel. Now, even though we know it was built by the Romans, local legend says that the aqueduct was actually built by the devil himself. Legend says it was actually a man who tried to build it and stones kept falling out, and he said only the devil himself could build it. Then the devil came and said, okay, I will build it for you, and whoever drinks the water from this aqueduct first, I will have her soul. And the next day the aqueduct was built, and a donkey was the first one to drink from it. Hence it's nicknamed Devil's Bridge.